possible, then we should see more from price action.
Okay, so we've got the actual graphics you've got for us to show us through this afternoon. Talking about this one, this is the national poll.
So this is the average of polls. So this is from Real Clear Politics. There's just less than a 2-point gap between them. If you look at the likes of Postal 538, then you show that this is sort of jumps around a little bit more. But there has been a real closing of the gap just over the past week. We don't know the exact because of the FBI probe news. Because it was already actually tightening. It continues to do so, but we don't know whether it's going to sort of continue going forward to actually level.
Okay, so here's a question for you, given what you're doing here. How accurate are the polls?
So they're pretty good. Obviously,
Yeah, boy.
But American polls have got a really good reputation. There hasn't been a big sort of bust up the way that we saw in the UK since 1980. But they do happen. And were there one which was similar to, say, Brexit or, say, the general election last year for us, then you could see a Donald Trump huge. It's unlikely. It only happens every 5 to 6 years. If it happens today, but it is possible.
Okay, so how worried should her team be about this margin of error that we keep talking about, that you say is not a real problem as far as these polls are concerned? And also, what does it mean for the states, these key swing states? I've got lots of questions for you. And my other question is this: how have they changed over the month?
So over the last month, you saw at the beginning of October in particular, it was relatively close, and then it really stretched out. You'll be able to see hopefully over here. After the first debate, so Clinton clearly won that, and then Donald Trump went on to talk about Alicia Mercado for a few weeks, and as soon as that cleared up, the tape came out of him with Billy Bush talking about sexually assaulting women, essentially. Basically, wherever you see big shift up, here is where that Billy Bush tape was.
Yeah.
All the way through, this is where Donald Trump was in the headlines, and where this kind of down spike is where Hillary Clinton was in the headlines, which is the problem for us at the moment. Obviously now, this whole last week, it's all been about emails, about FBI, about Comey, and you can see this here, a big dip. At the moment, she is still ahead, so there is that gap there, but were this to continue, then we could be looking at a real toss-up.
Okay, talk to me about Florida.
So Florida is where Donald Trump is today.
Yeah.
It's really important for him. It's less so, to be honest, for Hillary Clinton. So Donald Trump needs to win Florida. He also needs to win somewhere.
It's normally a Republican state.
It's normally a Republican state, but he needs to win Florida. He needs to win Arizona. He needs to win Ohio and Iowa and all the places where he just.
Pennsylvania, North Carolina.
But he needs to win all of those, but then one where he is actually currently on. So in terms of state polls, the likes of, he was just talking about them there, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota. They're places where he actually is like 6-7 points. The gigantic, sort of catastrophic polling error, a la 2015 general election, for him to actually get in. Which is why I think he's spending some time talking about there and going there, because he needs one of those just to turn around, in addition to winning all of the swing states where he's currently within a couple of points. That's a difficult thing for him to do, and that's why Hillary Clinton is still a favourite, but he is now just an underdog rather than a real long shot, which he would have said a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and I remember on the morning of the Brexit vote, there was 91% certainty that we would remain.
It depends on who you asked. I remember being on, if not right here, in the other Sky News studio, saying it's going to be really close. One of the things with the Brexit question was there was a big split between the types of polls that we were talking to you a lot about online polls versus television polls. In America, there hasn't been as much of a difference between those two. They've all shown Clinton ahead for quite a long time, and now they're all showing a closing race. We don't know if it's still going to continue to close. It may well plateau. We may well see that Hillary Clinton still stays out into like 4 points. We don't know yet.
I guess it's quote a week, a long time in politics and polling, I guess. Okay, but thanks so much. Thanks a lot. Move on to other news. The head of the World Trade Organization has warned it would be a catastrophe for the global economy if Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton imposed anti-trade policies. In his strongest intervention yet in the presidential race, he said moving away from free trade deals would be the wrong policy. He was speaking to our economic editor, Ed Conway, on a special report.
The purpose of the United States disconnects from the global economy. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. It's a catastrophe for the economy. So that is not going to happen. They
policies that are being proposed, if implemented, actually, you're out of all employees.
That's reversal of fortunes right here on Sky News at 9:30 this evening. Right now, though, as I look at some of today's other names, stories where the bodies of a man and two children have been found in the house in Hinckley in Leicestershire. Police were called to the house last night after reports of a disturbance. A woman in the house was injured and is in a serious condition in hospital. Police in the United States have arrested a man after two police officers were shot dead in separate incidents in the US state of Iowa. A Des Moines Police Department has described the attack as ambush style.
These were our friends, they were our co-workers. We discussed with them the time of the family of law enforcement. Sometimes we just said we're a very tight-knit community. Des Moines is not a big city. Down there to kill it. So, I mean, we're hard. I don't know what else.
And in the UK, a police officer has been seriously injured after stopping a vehicle in Teaglets in Lancashire. The officer was attacked with a knife, but his injuries are not life-threatening. A man has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. The Mayor of London has ordered an inquiry after a Sky investigation revealed the spiralling cost of running the Olympic Stadium. City Council office has blamed the previous mayor, Boris Johnson, for the problem. We'll be discussing this with a sports finance expert in just a few moments' time. The government has been ordered to take immediate action to tackle air pollution levels. Supreme Court judges today backed campaigners who are in a long-running legal battle to force authorities to hit clean air targets. The investigation has been launched after a soldier died at an RAF base. Police have sealed off part of a bombing range used by the RAF and Army at RAF Tame near Inverness. The base also has a rifle range and a small arms range. Police said the incident was contained and there was no threat to the public. Are you wearing your coffee with pride ahead of Armistice Day? Well, the Prime Minister, Theresa May, has condemned the ban by the football governing body FIFA on English and Scottish footballers wearing coffee as utterly outrageous.
I think the stance that's been taken by FIFA is utterly outrageous. Our football players want to recognise and respect those who have given their lives for our safety and security. I think it is absolutely right that they should be able to do so. And it's for our football associations, but I think a clear message is going from this house. We want our players to be able to wear those pockets. And I have to say to FIFA that before they start telling us what to do, they jolly well ought to sort their own house out.
Chief Political Correspondent John Craig. Hello to you, John. It's a bit of a free hit for the Prime Minister, but will it make any difference?
Well, one would imagine so. She spoke with real passion there. She was clearly anticipating the question on that. And you saw there the Labour backbencher Stephen McCabe nodding. He's a Scot who represents an English seat in Birmingham. Now, the game is on Friday, which, of course, is the 11th day of the 11th month, Armistice Day. And about 5 years ago, there was an England-Scotland fixture where authorities had to relent. And it's going back to when Fabio Capello was England manager. I think John Terry might have been the England captain at the time. But there was on that occasion they relented. All the signs are you'd expect with this pressure from the Prime Minister. She didn't just side-foot this one. She absolutely whacked it into the back of the net and spoke with some passion. And you heard her say there at the end, put your own house in order. So she's clearly pretty angry about this. I did ask the Prime Minister's press spokeswoman after PMQs if PM was likely to go to the game. No plans as yet, I was told, but I dare say we might see in the royal box there the PM and Nicola Sturgeon, both no doubt wearing poppies. But Tracy Crouch, the sports minister, has already spoken on about this. After PMQs, John Whittingdale, who until recently was the Culture, Media and Sports Secretary, said that if FIFA don't relent, England and Scotland should wear them anyway and take a points deduction if necessary. Not sure the two managers would agree with that, but you would have thought after this pretty no-nonsense remarks from Theresa May that they probably will relent.
Okay, as London has ordered an inquiry after a Sky News investigation revealed a spiralling cost of the Olympic Stadium. City Khan told Sky News that he hoped to find out what's going on.
Well, I'm deeply concerned about the serious financial issues surrounding the stadium. We fully realise the true scale of the financial costs towards the end of last week, and we now have discovered that the cost of converting the Olympic Stadium to a football stadium is approaching the region of £320 million. The original conversion cost was £100 million, went up to 190. The previous mayor signed off on £270 million, and we now think it's approaching north of £320 million to convert the stadium. What I don't want to do is reach a knee-jerk conclusion. It's important that we uncover the true facts, we find out what's gone wrong, because nobody was in favour of such a large amount of taxpayers' money. It is taxpayers' money being spent on the conversion. Nobody knew, at least of all me as the mayor, that the annual cost would be between £7 to £8 million a year with retractable season. There are big questions that need to be asked about how poor decisions were made and what we do going forward.
So, at the Olympic Stadium, we have a wide telephone joining us from Sheffield with Dr. Daniel Conley, a sports finance expert at Sheffield Hallam University. Hello to you, Doctor. Thanks for joining us on Sky News this afternoon. Talk to me about this modern net. What are the key challenges of converting an Olympic stadium into a stadium that can be for everyday use?
I think one of the main challenges that we face here with these is every Olympics sets out with a cost-benefit analysis in terms of the host government and the host nation. Is it worth hosting the event? How much money do we have to put into the facilities and the event structures? It's then a case of what you do with those after the games are complete, when demand is obviously a lot lower. In the case of the Olympic Stadium, they're not going to fill 80,000 seat stadium with athletics fans week in, week out, because the demand's not there. They were scope of converting this originally to a 25,000 seat all-purpose athletic stadium. And again, the demand wasn't there from the investors and whoever that might have been to put that case forward. So inevitably you turn to, if you like, some of the more popular sports and asking them to buy into this idea and get involved, which is where professional football comes in. And this was one of the only 2 or 3 options on the table with West Ham and Tottenham Hotspur, who originally wanted the stadium, again, for their own use, to knock it down and to reconstruct it for just a football purpose venue. And, at the minute we've got some form of halfway house in between, but there are still challenges and flaws with the way in which it's set up as this report's uncovered.
Does it ever work?
It does. There are instances in the past where it's worked. A lot of these Olympic venues now tend towards more sort of tourist attractions. So there's been evidence from Barcelona in 1992 and Beijing to some extent in 2008, where it has worked, but they've been turned into sort of tourist attractions, tourist parks. But where it doesn't work is the most high-profile example is probably Greece in recent years, where you have stadiums that are just empty and deserted, and obviously the economic climate of the country comes into this as well. So, yes, sometimes it works, and all countries plan for these things to work, but there are challenges and flaws along the way, and it is still relatively sort of short, in terms of the time period leading on from London 2012 in terms of how this might progress moving forward.
I think that's one of the challenges, a couple of the challenges are that fans are too far away from the action, and also you don't have to separate spectators at an Olympic event the way you might have to at a football event. So if you are trying to convert from one to the other, presumably those are the 2 of the key challenges.
It is, yes, and that's why, looking back in hindsight, it was a wonderful thing, but it's unsurprising in this instance where the costs are rising in line with this, because as you say, it's a different environment in terms of watching football versus watching athletics in the stadium. So the whole issue of segregation and fan views, and that's predominantly the reason why both West Ham and Tottenham originally wanted this stadium just to be football specific and wanted to knock it down and start again, because from their perspective, as tenants in West Ham space or owners of the stadium, as it might have been, they want the best experience for their fans as well. So it's always pros and cons both sides of the argument.
Final thought, just before we let you go, in your opinion, given everything we've talked about, can it be fixed, the West Ham Stadium? Because of course is it the Manchester City Stadium that was a previous athletics track around the football field, and that finished report?
Yeah, that's absolutely one example of where it has worked well in this country, the 2002 Commonwealth Games in Manchester City, taking that stadium on as tenants in the first instance, and then obviously with investment into the club buying that stadium outright. It's still too early to tell as to whether the West Ham will follow that model and will go down that route. I think the main sticking point here is that at the minute, obviously, the West Ham have seemed to agree a good deal on their terms, and it's costing the taxpayer a lot of money to fund the reconstruction costs, which is where some of the challenges lie for the Mayor of London and the people looking into this further.
Okay, yeah, great story, thank you very much. Breaking news, which is here at Sky Centre, the last unaccompanied minors have been buffed out of the Calais jungle now, according to the police, which means that the camp now closed to all intents and purposes. And we have David Bowden there for us to be chatting to him very shortly. So to come on the programme for you, we've got to go to sport. Stay tuned for that.
New York, home to both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, two locals vying for the most powerful job in the world. Sky News will be live here in New York on election night as the results come in, with our team of experts providing in-depth reactions and analysis as America decides. Will it be President Clinton or President Trump?
Clinton versus Trump, America decides, November the 8th on Sky News, South Atlantic.
The new original recipe stacker. When you're double hungry, you need double the burger. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Besides rolls, period peaches, sugar at a great price. I'll just take some photos and
With fees from £780 and no commission, Yopa's local agents will help sell your home for the best price. And could save you thousands.
we should have your property on the market by this afternoon.
Oh, lovely young old. No, stop it. It's not YOPA, it's Yopa. Local agents, low fee, complete control. Book a free valuation at yopa.co.uk.
Checking your bank balance with the swipe of a finger is a little thing. But sometimes, little things make a big difference. Fast balance on your mobile from HSBC. It's a big little thing.
Remember when everything you did was for the sheer pleasure of doing it. The NW Extra. Intelligent all-wheel drive.
Let's cross to Sky Sports Centre now for an update.
Gardening, great idea. I think I'll plant myself on the sofa.
Hi there, we start with the breaking news in the last half hour, and Joey Boston will remain a Rangers player. The club have released a statement saying the midfielder will return to full-time training tomorrow following the end of disciplinary proceedings. Barton was suspended 6 weeks ago because of an altercation with teammate Andy Halliday and manager Mark Warburton. But like the Scotland manager Gordon Strachan, he said having Scott Brown back in midfield will be vital for their World Cup qualifier with England at Wembley. The Celtic captain is returning after retiring from international football in the summer. Strachan is delighted Brian changed his mind.
Scott decided to retire. Where the place he was in at the time. I was a bit worried about fitness. Since then, he's gone back with a bang. So he's in a different place at the moment. And it's not like we've kept them children up with each other.
Hi, Randy, back in the weird sport for their World Cup qualifier with Serbia. The Arsenal midfielder missed all their matches since Euro 2016 with injury. Manager Chris Stevens also said they'll reluctantly comply with FIFA's decision not to allow them to wear copies on their shirt for the match.
You have to look at what FIFA is saying. You have to be able to understand that. Unless my association tells me otherwise, we have to abide by what FIFA says, and that's what we do. But we'll always, of course, pay our respects to the members.
The governing body, the WBE, have officially sanctioned a super world heavyweight fight between Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko in the spring. Joshua must first defend his IBF title against Eric Molino in December the 10th. WBA belt has been defeated by Tyson Fury while he takes a break from the sport. Klitschko was the unified world champion prior to his defeat last November. It's a reminder Leicester and Tottenham in Champions League action tonight. There's build-up over on Sky Sports News HQ. I'll be back mid-hour.
Or you could just hand it to me.
We're talking about Sharia law coming up in about 10 minutes' time and how it pertains to life here in the United Kingdom. First of all, from that, that is speak us directly if you'd like to. Meantime,
Why these days you enjoy some pleasant evening. Inspiration blooms in Europe.
mostly finance the afternoon, but there'll be a scattering of showers in the town in the northwest and perhaps the Oslo and the northwest coast. Northwest Scotland and the northwest of Ireland will see showers, giving way to more general rain this evening, while southern and eastern Scotland, northern England and northern Ireland will see a few light and patchy outbreaks later. Going to stay dry just about everywhere else, with an extensive frost and some fog over southern Britain.
The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
I promise that debate on Sharia law coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned.
With every sunrise comes limitless stories. Intriguing, engaging, unpredictable. You never know what you'll be waking up to. So, we shed light on the breaking news that everyone will be talking about. From politics and the markets to entertainment and sports. We debate the stories that affect your world. So let's give you the brightest start to the day.
For a fresh look at morning news, joining Sarah Jane Lee on Sunrise from 6 a.m. on Sky News.
To win the International Wine Challenge Supermarket of the Year 2 years running, you must sell wines like this award-winning Grand Montana Norway, and like the silver medal Northwest Sauvignon Blanc, and the sensational award-winning Prosecco. Where did you find such a fine collection? Well, Morrison, of course.
John was enjoying a welcome mid-morning break when he was the victim of a vicious street crime. It cost him several £1,000s, but it wasn't until the next day he realised the enormity. All he could recall was responding to a text from what he thought was his bank, urgently asking him to verify his security details. Moments later, he rolled people.
You can't see cybercrime, but there are ways to avoid it. But Barclays will never ask you to verify your security details by text.
The Happy Egg Company, where happy hens lay tasty eggs.
At Morrison's, this 30-piece cruiser firework rat is a sparkling £20. Bonfire night, Morrison's makes it. When you're on O2, your phone's like a gift. Keeps on. And all it wants is for you to have nice things, like priority tickets to gigs and 48 hours of French memories and endless books, coyote tunes and 2-for-1 drink offers and free clover days. It's really something. Priority for Monsoon watching all kinds of music. It's just another way we do coffee, hotels, coffee.
This is Ocean.
Really sustains civilization on Mars with ways to ensure ever in human history. There's so many things that can go wrong. This is dangerous. It's hostile.
Mars starts the 13th of November on National Geographic Channel.
Looks like we're ready.
Hello, next we're watching Skynews Unknown stories where officials in Calais say all the remaining unaccompanied children who were living in the migrant camp known as the Jungle have been cleared from the site. Donald Trump is urging people who have already voted for Hillary Clinton to recast their ballot and vote for him instead, as the new poll puts him equal with Hillary Clinton. And the London Mayor Sadiq Khan has ordered an investigation into the finances of the Olympic Stadium, and the investigation revealed the total cost of converting the arena has soared by 51 million. Get an update for you from the migrant camp in Calais known as the Jungle. David Bowden is there, and it looks like the operation to clear it of migrants is complete. David, tell us more.
It is. We thought there were 1,500 or so unaccompanied minors. It turned out there were 1,616, and they've disappeared on 38 coaches. And I reckon they were disappearing at the rate of about 200 or so an hour, because they were at it for about 8 hours. When we arrived here before that this morning, this place was swarming with happy teenagers, and now what you've got is a lot of rubbish, the odd abandoned bike, and a few police and various other local workers tidying things up. It is empty officially. Nobody else here in the migrant camp at all. And I have to say, having watched all day, it went pretty smoothly, Kay. People were lined up, they all seemed very happy. There was food and water on the coaches, there were translators on the coaches, and they were dispatched in groups of either language or country of origin to anywhere up to 60 different places. Now we know they went in 38 coaches, so the assumption has to be that some of them dropped off, some people somewhere and then went on to somewhere else. But they've all gone away from here, and some of them quite a long distance. One of those coaches I know has gone all the way to Carcassonne, which is way down in the Languedoc, right close to the Pyrenees in the south of this country. But they will be there, they will be safe, they'll have food for the day and a bed, and crucially, they'll also be processed not only by UK officials to see whether they have a right to asylum in the UK, the French officials and other European countries. Everybody will get somewhere to stay, everybody will be granted asylum somewhere. Those who want to live in the UK might get to the UK, and think, according to some of the agencies we're speaking to, up to a third of the people who left here might end up in the UK. That's somewhere just over 500 people.
Okay, for now, thank you. Meantime, back home, there are calls for a radical overhaul of the way the UK manages the risk of flooding and protect communities facing rural. MPs want a new body to take over flood response and a grand scheme to help small businesses who can't find affordable insurance. Warning that Joe Times reports contain some flash photography.
The Environment Agency has had a tough couple of years. Severe storms, record rainfall, and a torrent of criticism. One chairman faced the dressing down for a slow flood response in Somerset. Another stood down for taking a holiday during floods in Yorkshire. And now a committee of MPs wants a major shake-up from top to bottom.
We are bringing in the flood
commissioner, the same as they have in the Netherlands, to have overall control of flooding. That's what we're recommending. Also, to evolve the management down to a much more local level.
Jubilee River was conceived in the 1980s.
That's music to the ears of people like Parish Councillor Ewan Larkham.
It is not fair living design construction. It is unable to carry its design capacity.
He blames bad management of the Jubilee River, flooding towns like Datchet and Raisbury.
I do not believe that the Environment Agency have learned over the years
He welcomes the idea of a new approach to flood prevention.
to do anything different to what we're doing now, and only do better.
The Environment Agency's management of the Jubilee River is just one controversial scheme across the country where some communities feel instead of helping the flooding situation, has made it worse. From a lack of dredging of the River Parrett in Somerset, to overprotection of mussels in Keswick in Cumbria. Every event has brought with it theories about what could and should have been done. For the government, though, progress has been made. Restructuring the EA isn't the answer.
We now have 25 miles of mobile barriers that can be deployed around the country. And if you think back to last winter, we only had 5 miles of barriers. So there are definitely temporary resources there which we can deploy as and where needed, alongside the ongoing schemes that we have been putting in place. And also we are working up schemes that include natural management.
The report calls for more of this, a more holistic approach, as it puts it. More tree planting is needed, along with so-called leaky dams and better soil management. In England alone, more than 5 million people are at risk of flooding. And with winter fast approaching, the Environment Agency will have to bolster confidence as much as defences. Joe Tidy, Sky News, in Datchet.
Controversial topic. The next Parliament is investigating how so-called Sharia courts operate here in the United Kingdom. Home Affairs Select Committee is hearing evidence on whether they need tighter regulation. What do you think? One report estimated that there are at least 85 Sharia bodies in the UK, but the UK Board of Sharia Council said the true extent unknown. The UK's official body has around 15 members affiliated, but could not force others, were told, to join. More than 100 Muslim women have complained about the parliamentary inquiry itself, saying they're being treated as political force. So, does this parallel legal system, as it's known, need tighter regulation? And what role should they play in public life? Joining me to discuss this in more detail is Geeta Singhal, Director of the Centre for Secular Space, and Abdullah Al-Andalusi, co-founder of the Muslim Debate Initiative. Thank you both for joining us here on Sky News this afternoon. Geeta, to you first of all, if I may, what does Sharia law mean to you? When you think about Sharia law, what do you think?
Well, Sharia law can mean many things, in fact, but the forms of Sharia law that we find being operated in Britain by these Sharia councils is, in fact, a very discriminatory form of law, and it's among the worst forms of Sharia that are found anywhere where family law, Sharia principles, so-called Sharia principles, are used for family law. Women are often treated as minors in the courts in need of a guardian. They're treated in very discriminatory ways. They're told that there's been a huge collapse of civil marriages in Britain. These are going backwards for Muslims in this country, where fewer and fewer marriages are registered, and therefore women often find themselves stuck where they've had nikah, that is a Muslim marriage. And there wouldn't be anything wrong with that, except that they don't find their rights protected under British civil law. And even if they've had civil marriages, they're often bullied into having so-called Sharia divorces where they want to divorce, not just a civil divorce, because it's claimed that the British civil divorce isn't enough. In other words, Sharia law is apparently a legal system operating in this country.
So let's bring in Abdullah Al-Andalusi. Thank you very much indeed for joining us also, sir. What does it mean to you, Sharia law? We've heard the suggestions that it's very discriminatory against women.
Well, I would strongly disagree with the claims that Sharia law discriminates against women. I would say that many studies, one by Dr. Sami Al-Dino of the University of Reading, funded by the Ministry of Justice, concluded that the majority of Sharia councils appear to have a primary role of helping Muslim women to obtain a religious divorce, and that the organization surveyed sought to avoid a conflict with the state and did not appear to have any desire to replace
civil mechanisms and fears that councils are forming a parallel legal system appear to be unfounded. So a state-funded investigation by Dr. Samia Bano concluded contrary to what my colleague is saying. Sharia is basically the religious law of Muslims. Jews have the halakha system. They have arbitration councils and so on. So they have, which is a very comparable law, and yet no one's talking about that because Muslims seem to be obviously always under the spotlight due to what many have highlighted as demonization of the Muslim community, according to one barrister, a Jewish barrister of David Frey said that there is demonization of the Muslim community. But that was his opinion. So I think all these pretensions of seeking justice for women is really a smokescreen for a so-called secular state that's meant to be impartial in religion, imposing and interfering in the affairs, the religious life of a minority community in the country.
Okay, Teresa, King Gal, around 3 million Muslims in the United Kingdom, about 5% or thereabouts of the population. A law that is recognised, therefore, by up to 5% of the population. Does it have effect?
No, that's not true. That's not true. It's not. You cannot assume that because somebody is religiously a Muslim, that they want to be controlled by Muslim fundamentalists. The fact is that in our coalition, which is a secular coalition, One Law for All, there are many believers as well as many ex-Muslims and many people of different nationalities who are indeed worried that if the government decides that they're going to recognize the Sharia councils, so I think your question was, is tighter regulation the issue? I think there's a zero tolerance that the government needs to have for the discriminatory practices of Sharia councils. Regulating them means recognizing them and in fact endorsing many of those practices by saying that they regulate them and in fact endorsing them. What the government has done is, for instance, made a regulatory body for the mosques and imams. And that regulatory body was filled with fundamentalist organizations and failed to regulate anything.
Okay, Abdullah, who do you think that you are representing?
I'm not misrepresenting anyone. I'm merely stating facts and evidence, such genderless facts and evidence, such as the Arbitration Act of 1986, Section 33, which guarantees that English law overrules any arbitration tribunals. The judge can dismiss or disregard any verdict of a tribunal of any kind that he refused to do.
Very good at criminal tribunals. That the point is that people are being deterred from seeking their rights within a court. And in fact, there's some evidence that the Muslim arbitration tribunals are taking cases to be mediated, cases of domestic violence that should have gone to the courts, and are persuading women to drop their cases in mediation. There's very disturbing evidence that the police are working with these bodies, and that other groups are working with the bodies, and that local councils want to work with them because they may be useful, for instance, in the PREVENT program or something like that.
Okay.
And on that point,
let Abdullah join in as well, because it is a debate, of course.
The largest Muslim women's organisation, the Muslim Women's Network UK, has issued concerns about these reviews. It was already mentioned by that Shaista Gore said that it seems that Muslim women are being used as political footballs. She also added that that basically it seems that the shutting down of this kind of investigation, the Sharia Council seems to be using women's rights as a guise to further an anti-faith agenda. The so-called zero tolerance policy of that my colleague just mentioned is in reality a secular intolerance against people's religious rights. The British English courts are available for everyone to seek a recourse. Wait 1 second, please. English courts are open to anyone to seek their rights and their recourse, rights according to English law. Tribunals and councils, they're not called Sharia courts, by the way. They have no legal binding effect. There is no police or an unofficial police that enforces their in essence, advice. They are merely a facility that the Muslim community can use if they so want, if all parties agree to seek arbitration. There are many other types of relationship advice organizations which obviously no one has a problem with, like Relate.
Mr. Al-Andalusi has made a perfect example of the way in which people running the Sharia councils are rebranding themselves, and they're now saying that this is all consensual and what they're giving is just advice. what they actually do, and Ellen Manea, who's done a much more recent, much more thorough, and much better study than Samia Bano, has said that the Sharia councils are in effect operating a parallel legal system and operating a very, very discriminatory version of Sharia law, which is one of the most discriminatory forms of Sharia law operating anywhere in the world.
Okay.
And she's done a comparative legal study of that. Now, you know, one thing I do agree with Mr. Andalusi about is that we, as a coalition, called for the government to actually investigate all forms of parallel legal systems. We didn't want a simple inquiry only into Sharia law. There is a specific problem because I don't know any other religion that has such an extensive form of councils which are known to give very discriminatory advice and to actually harm Muslim women. We have examples of Muslim women being put at risk whose addresses, for instance, have been concealed in the civil courts because they had a risk of domestic violence with their husbands, and they can be put at risk by such Sharia councils.
Okay.
Subjected to
Okay, Abdullah, I'm interested to know how you can relate to, Sharia law with some medieval punishments at its most extreme with, amputation of limbs, death by stoning, etc. How does it compare to relate?
How does the operation of Sharia councils when they provide relation advice, how does that relate anything to punishment system or penal system or anything? They're completely unconnected, and it's ridiculous because the Sharia councils, the Sharia councils aren't implementing any penal system. They're not implementing a law. They're not a court system. Sorry?
Should they be allowed to?
Should they be allowed to law that they're not the law of the land is the law of England and Wales. That is the operating law of the land. The courts, the English courts can overrule any tribunal decision on any matter. The Section 33 of the Arbitration Act guarantees that, and they have implemented it. So considering that English courts, considering that English courts are fully empowered to disregard any kind of advice by tribunal of any case or any matter, then all this issue only amounts to scaremongering, as has been mentioned by a number of organisations, including the largest Muslim women's body in the UK. So I think that these are issues which you have to
Muslim women's bodies, and with the Muslim Women's Network gave evidence of the Select Committee yesterday, in which they said they welcome both inquiries. So perhaps they should be asked why in one place they say it's scaremongering, another place they say they welcome both inquiries. We initially welcomed the government inquiry. However, we think that it is a very secretive inquiry into the theological inquiry, and in fact we're very disappointed that it's only inquiry into Sharia law. Because if the government opens the way for regulations of Sharia councils, which in fact will not regulate them, what it will do will endorse them and make them respectable, and that will open the way for all sorts of other bodies among Hindus, Sikhs, and other people. And in fact, Christian evangelicals.
Hold on a second, you've started, so we have to give the last word to Abdullah. What would you like to say to wrap up this debate?
What I would say is that all this really amounts to is interference by a supposedly neutral body, the UK government, into people's religion and private affairs. If anyone is being discriminated against by intimidation, threats of violence, then the police and the courts should enter into that and prevent that from happening. The English courts are not beholden to any other courts or law system, so there is no threat of any parallel legal system. All it is that you have these private and independent or institutions which arise from different minority communities, Sharia councils, Beit Din, and Jewish community, which are basically people who want to enact their right to religious life without interference from secularists.
Got it. Informative and lively debate from both of you. Thank you both very much indeed for joining us on Sky this afternoon. Thank you. Still to come on the programme for you this afternoon. Tell us actually what you think about the debate. If you'd like to get involved, you can tweet directly at Kate Burley, and hopefully we're going to back with a bit later on if you'd like after this.
The director of my conviction integrity.
I think the case is what?
It was a mistake. You make a lot of this. As an everyone, you go do your damn job.
The question is, do you have it in you? The brand new series, Conviction, starts tonight at 9 on Sky Living.
All of your favorite concert movies, all in one place. Sky Cinema Disney Pixar. Available now.
At Morrison's, this 30-piece cruiser firework wrap is a sparkling £20. Bonfire night, Morrison's makes it.
Ah, the best beef brisket and beef dripping roast potatoes. Prime cut, slim cooked in rich red wine, mushroom and thyme jus. With British potatoes tumbled with beef dripping. Oven roasted until golden and crisp. Best served curled up on the sofa. When you have beef brisket with beef dripping roast potatoes, make sure it's the best. Morrison's, and only the best will do.
Introducing the Kendall range from Oak Furniture Lounge. Order now for guaranteed Christmas delivery.
Join BT Mobile today, and you'll get combined power and fast 4G and Wi-Fi in more places than any other mobile provider. If you've got BT broadband at home, it starts from just £5 a month and comes with 500 megabytes of data. That's a great value 4G plan. Or get our perfect all-rounder with 2 gigabytes of data for £10 a month. And for £20 a month, you can enjoy a huge 15 gigabytes of data. Anyone can get BT Mobile, and with free SIM-only plans, you'll find one that's right for you. Visit bt.com/mobile or call 0800 456 1122.
Did you buy a Spanish timeshare after the 5th of January 1999? Did you buy fractional ownership, points, floating time, or club membership? Did you sign a contract that lasts longer than 50 years or pay any money within the cooling off period? The Spanish Supreme Court has recently ruled a number of such contracts null and void for breach of timeshare legislation and awarded full refunds to clients. Call Timesharees today on 0208 952 1000 to see if you can make it late.
TD Direct Investor sponsors the Sky News Financial Report. TD Direct Investor sponsors the Sky News Financial Report.
The so-called Guinea Pig Club was formed in 1941, was made up of men who received burns treatment. By the end of the war, the group had 649 members. A memorial was unveiled for them today during this night from the National Memorial Arboretum in Staffordshire is Gordon Beck, the grandson of the Archibald Michael Reserve, the plastic surgeon who pioneered the project. Hello to you. Thanks for joining us on Sky News. How do you remember your grandfather?
Well, I was 8 when he died, but I do remember him. I used to be picked up from school by him. I used to go and stay with him. I have very distinct memories of him. I had no idea he was such an eminent surgeon.
How should we, as a nation, remember what you think?
Well, I think if you look at what happened today, the fact is that what are we? We're 70 years later, and you look at the interest in him, and he obviously is held in such high esteem both by his patients and by the medical profession, and I think today is testament to that.
And the work that he did benefited something like 650 members, or certainly that's around the number of the Guinea Pig Club. So for people who don't know much about it, perhaps you could just highlight a couple of points.
Well, if you put yourself back into the beginning of the Second World War, there were 4 plastic surgeons in the whole of the country, and he was assigned effectively the RAF RAF potential victims. Nobody had any idea that the sort of injuries that were in fact received were going to happen. The terrible burn injuries that happened to our pilots in the Battle of Britain when hurricanes and Spitfires went up in flames and they received these terrible burn injuries. So as a surgeon, So we really had to deal with this on the hoof. And it just so happened it's the right man in the right place at the right time. Because he was an absolutely brilliant surgeon. And he realized immediately when faced with the problems that he had to effectively tear up the wall.
Okay, back to Johnny and Danny this afternoon, top to a top again.
Oh, we'll never get it started.
Hey, I know what I'm doing. It's great being able to help your family. I would want them to have a carefree future too. So when I die, I don't have to worry about our funeral costs. Or pay off any bills. That's why we've taken out over 50s life insurance with British seniors. And they've got this great new benefit. The lifetime payback guarantee. With most life insurance companies, you just get your cover amount when there's a claim, even if you've paid in more. But with the lifetime payback guarantee, if you've paid in more premiums than your cover amount, they'll pay out all the premiums you've paid in. So your loved ones will either get your cover amount or the amount you paid in, whichever's more. So you really can't lose.
With British Seniors, you're guaranteed to be accepted. There's no medical or questions about your health. And with the lifetime payback guarantee, the benefits your loved ones will receive will always be your cover amount or the total premiums you paid, whichever is more. You can get cover from £2,000 to £20,000, and premiums start from as little as £6.47 a month.
This will run for years and years.
A bit like you.
Call British Seniors on 0800 542 1634 and find out about the lifetime payback guarantee, or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
And how simple we've got your sale covered with local knowledge and expertise like this guy. Exposure here, there, pretty much everywhere. And transparency every step of the way. You're more likely to sell and for more money than the national average. And while you're at it, save an average of £5,000 in fees. It's simple really. More is better.
You don't realize this is human. Look at this. I'm always trying to achieve. I can trust you.
You tell me. Whether it's just ended his career as a swimmer.
Brand new Grey's Anatomy. Starts tonight at 10 on Sky 11.
Where you can change your early ballot if you think you've made a mistake. A lot of stuff has come out since you voted.
Donald Trump asked early voters to recast their ballots. There's one opinion poll looking neck and neck with Hillary Clinton. Officials in Calais say the jungle migrant camp is now clear as the last remaining children are removed from the site. As the cost of the Olympic Stadium balloons, London's mayor orders an inquiry. The Prime Minister blasts the FIFA ban on footballers wearing copies as utterly outrageous. Last two police officers are shot dead in the US state of Iowa in an ambush-style attack. Good afternoon, this is Sky News at 4 o'clock. Donald Trump says those who voted for Hillary Clinton before she was hit by a fresh email scandal can change their minds and cast another ballot for him instead. Running poll comes as most polls show Mrs. Clinton's lead has narrowed, and one poll has the candidates neck and neck. First, let's hear what Donald Trump has to say.
This is a message for any Democratic voters who have already cast their ballots for Hillary Clinton and who are having a bad case of buyer's remorse. In other words, you want to change your vote. Wisconsin is one of several states where you can change your early ballot if you think you've made a mistake. A lot of stuff has come out since you voted. So if you live here, or in Michigan, or Pennsylvania, or Minnesota, those four places, you can change your vote to Donald Trump will make America great again, okay?
Well, both candidates will be out on the campaign trail again later. Donald Trump is attending a rally in Miami, and Thomas Peter is there, joins us now. Hello to you. So, just to clarify, Hannah, you can have voted one way by post, and you can change your mind. You can, yes, but not in all states, just a few of them. And it is worth saying that the states where that is possible aren't necessarily swing states, with the exception perhaps of Michigan, maybe. Definitely Pennsylvania. And of course, in the aftermath of Hillary Clinton's latest set of issues with those email revelations, Google search terms, the trending term was in fact change early vote. There was a spike in interest in that subject. Donald Trump knows that, he's appealing to voters in relation to that. It's just not clear that that will make a real difference, even if lots of people change their votes in that small number of states. But it's just another example of Donald Trump's clear determination to turn this into a brutal scrap right until the very end. And he is certainly buoyed by changing polls, both nationally and in key swing states like here in Florida, which he has to win in order to get to the White House. So that suggests that the polls really are, the race is tightening. In some polls even, he's inching ahead. And he knows that his rival, Hillary Clinton, is plagued by this unending email saga, and he's just capitalizing on that. Okay, you were talking there about the polls, and as you were saying, they are narrowing. They are. One, which is heading behind by 10, 12 points up until a week ago, and has heading behind, in fact, since May, actually heading ahead by 1 point. That was released yesterday morning. But Donald Trump is facing a couple of big challenges. Hillary Clinton's path to the White House is much less complicated. She's got a number of different routes that she can take. His is very narrow. It's also true that he has now forced her into a fight. Rather than creating a positive atmosphere in the last week of her campaign, which is what she's hoping to do, she's now having to defend, to attack Donald Trump on the issues that she believes he's weak on. This is the latest ad that she will. Okay.
27 million. Not just a number. It's all our people, sisters and brothers, eligible to vote, thanks to their fathers and mothers, who through struggle and strife, sacrifice to give them better life. 27 million strong, all ready to vote for freedom, equality, and reason, traits that seem to have gone out of season.
And the Latino vote Hillary Clinton was referring to there, almost 30 million people nationally actually could make a big difference here in Florida. In terms of early voting, that community is turning out to vote in record numbers. Up to twice as many people going to the polls as compared to this time last time in 2012. Okay, thank you. A bit more on the polls, should we, and what they actually mean. Joining us live is Mark Nicholson, who is an elections and polling analyst. I bet you're having a field day, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a great time. I mean, 2016 has been a fascinating year if you like watching the polls.
Okay, what particularly about this poll has caught, or these series of polls has caught your eye? I mean, it looks like it's a close race. Have we seen similar close races?
Yes, this is a close race. It's not 2000 and 2004, where it wasn't actually clear which candidate was ahead in either of those presidential elections, which went down to 2000, a few hundred votes in Florida, in 2000.
Exactly. Very well.
Exactly. In 2004, a few tens of thousands of votes in Ohio. Those were too close to call. This election is not too close to call. Hillary Clinton remains ahead. Remains in the lead. Now, I was actually looking at some of these polls that appear to be typing. And there's a really good article in today's New York Times, which I think makes a very credible case, that they're screening out too many early voters in these polls. They're polls of likely voters. So if you've already voted, you're not counted in these polling polls. If you've already voted, you are far more likely to be a Hillary Clinton voter. I used to say a state like North Carolina, and at 20 points, you're more likely to be a Hillary Clinton voter if you've already voted early. Something like 40% of North Carolina voters will vote by election day, and these will be Hillary people. So I think this
originally knew, but no one actually does that. And it's, for me, it's a sign that the Trump campaign hasn't actually latched onto any voter. It has been a linchpin of the Hillary Clinton campaign to organise their voters to go out early to the polls. And I think the Trump campaign is massively paying catch up on that kind of effort. The Trump campaign was advertising this week for canvassers in Florida. So a task they should probably have done 6 to 9 months ago.
He never thought he was going to win, though, did he? And so he found himself in a position. I was in Vegas for the third day, and he was saying, it's rigged, it's rigged, it's rigged. And now he's thinking, oh, I might be able to win this. It's not rigged at all.
I think that Donald Trump puts himself in a very lucky position facing a candidate who, firstly, comes from the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party have won 3 consecutive presidential elections, and secondly, is one of the least popular nominees of a major political party on record. The problem for him is that he was under the understanding that he could run a relatively cheap campaign on free media through his celebrity appeal and not invest heavily enough early on in the next and long term presidential campaign, which is what will save him.
How accurate are the polls in the US as opposed to the polls here in the United Kingdom that have had a bit of a kick over the last year?
They vary. There are pollsters that are exceptionally good. Marist, public policy polling, actually looking at the polls that YouGov produced for 2014 elections were fairly accurate. The advantage also you have in the US is that a lot of polling done off the voter file, so people can, you can look at various demographic trends in a much clearer way. But as I was saying, these things like monthly voter screens, particularly in this late stage of the election, make it very, very complicated.
Okay, so it's Hillary's to lose, from what you're saying, Mark, but she could.
She could. I mean, so you've got
she has less to do to win, doesn't she, as a Democrat?
If you're Donald Trump, well, let's say Hillary Clinton loses key states of Ohio, Florida, North Carolina, Iowa. She's still in the presidential election. Donald Trump has to win every true swing state, plus win somewhere else. That's why she's up in Michigan and Wisconsin. It's a Hail Mary last ditch attempt to bring another state into play. It's not going to work. This is exactly what Mr. Mitt Romney tried in Pennsylvania in 2012 when he realized that he didn't have enough other winnable states to make a late vote in Pennsylvania, and it didn't work.
Now, I thought before we let you go, which state will you be keeping your eye on and you think, if Hillary wins that, it's good?
North Carolina. It was a state won by Obama very narrowly in 2008, very narrowly in 2012 by Mitt Romney. The Clinton campaign had prioritized it for 2 reasons: African American voters and huge numbers of college-educated white voters. Additionally, vote Republican in great numbers that are turned off by Donald Trump in one respect home, but quietly vote for Hillary Clinton. That is the state where he really sits.
I'm writing all this down because I'll need that for next week. Mark, it's great to talk to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. Well, the head of the World Trade Organization has warned it would be a catastrophe for the global economy if Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton imposed anti-trade policies. In his strongest intervention yet in the presidential race, he said moving away from free trade deals would be the wrong policy. He was speaking to our economics editor, Ed Conway, from the special report.
If everything disconnects from the global economy, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. It's a catastrophe for the economy. So that is not going to happen. Many of those policies that are being proposed, if implemented, actually, you're out of power employees.
A special report called Reversal of Fortune Hills, and that's at 9:30. And tonight, Jeremy Thompson will bring you a special program, America Decides. That's at midnight tonight and every night this week. And now let's look at the day's other main stories in the operation to relocate all the migrants living in the jungle camp in Calais is now complete. Officials in Calais say more than 1,600 unaccompanied children have been moved, while their asylum applications are processed. Bodies of a man and 2 children have been found in a house in Hinkley in Leicestershire. Police reported the house last night after reports of a disturbance. A woman in the house was injured and is in a serious condition in hospital. attacked FIFA's decision to ban English and Scottish football players wearing poppies during Prime Minister's questions today. She described FIFA's position as utterly outrageous. And the rest of the entries with our senior political correspondent John Craig in just a few moments. Police in the US have arrested a man after 2 police officers were shot dead in separate incidents in the US state of Iowa. The Des Moines Police Department has described the attack as ambush style.
These were our friends, maybe our co-workers. We discussed it many times, the family of law enforcement. Certainly, we just said we were very tight-knit community. Des Moines is not a big city. We all know each other. So, I think we're hard, but I don't know what else.
And in the UK, a police officer has been seriously injured after stopping a vehicle in Cleveland in Lancashire. The officer was attacked with a knife, but his injuries are not life-threatening. The man has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. The Mayor of London has ordered an inquiry after a Sky investigation revealed spiralling costs of running the Olympic Stadium. City Council office has blamed the previous mayor, Boris Johnson, for the problem.
Well, I'm deeply concerned about the serious financial issues surrounding the Olympic Stadium. We fully realise the true scale of the financial costs towards the end of last week, and we now discovered that the cost of converting the Olympic Stadium to a football stadium is approaching the region of £320 million. The original conversion cost was £100 million, went up to 290. Previous mayor signed off on £270 million, and we now think it's approaching north of £300 million to convert the stadium. What I don't want to do is reach a knee-jerk conclusion. It's important that we uncover the true facts, we find out what's gone wrong, because nobody was in favour of such a large amount of taxpayers' money, it's taxpayers' money being spent on the conversion. Nobody knew, at least of all me as the mayor, that the annual cost would be between £7 to £8 million a year for these destructible seats. There are big questions that need to be asked about how poor decisions were made, and what would you go forward?
The government's been ordered to take immediate action to tackle air pollution levels. Supreme Court judges today backed campaigners who are in a long-running legal battle to force authorities to hit clean air targets. UKIP's largest cash donor, Aaron Banks, has told Sanders that the party is in a hell of a mess. The next leader of UKIP will be announced later this month after Diane James quit the post after 18 days in charge.
I think at the moment, I'm not going to deny UKIP's in a hell of a mess. I think the Labour Party's in a hell of a mess, and I think that the whole referendum process, apart from the Tories, the natural ruthless sharks who took advantage of it, the other parties are fell into real trouble.
And do you have a candidate who's still in the race?
I don't have a candidate in the race. I don't think there is a race. Paul Nuttall will win. And I struggle to wonder whether he will sort the problems out we've had in the
What would you support for then?
I certainly like Paul, but I struggle with the fact that he's got a lot of problems to deal with, and I don't know if he's got the strength to deal with them.
Modern operation to relocate all the migrants living in the jungle camp in Calais, which is complete, we're told. David Bowman standing by for us in Calais. Hello to you, David. So all the youngsters, unaccompanied youngsters, have all been relocated elsewhere?
Yeah, just look behind me, Kate. This was awash with eager teenage boys playing football, riding their bikes, generally laughing about. When we first got here this morning, 8 hours or so later, it is empty. They have all gone. They've left a couple of bikes, they're rubbish, but they're now on their way to distribution centres, asylum centres, all across France. We're told that there are 60 of them that will take these unaccompanied minors, but they left in 38 coaches, so the assumption has to be that someone will drop some off somewhere and then move on and drop another lot off further down the line. They've gone a long way, some of them as well. I know that one of the coaches has gone all the way down to the Languedoc, to Carcassonne. It's a long drive, it's nice and sunny and warm, but if they do end up coming back to the UK or perhaps to northern France, it'll be a long way back. 1,616 were actually checked through and processed here. We thought there were only about 1,500. Turned out there were a few more. And it went like clockwork, really. Everybody's been humoured. They got them on their buses pretty well, really. There was a bit of shouting, a bit of be patient, stop pushing. But apart from that,
everybody good humoured, and now they've all gone. Officially, the jungle camp here in Calais is empty.
Okay, thank you. A new report by leading academics on European politics says the Brexit process could be too complicated for British politicians to implement. The report suggests that leaving the EU will test constitutional and legal frameworks, but also test the capabilities of bureaucrats and politicians. Joined now by one of the report's authors, Professor Alain Bernal from the Department of European Politics and Foreign Affairs at King's College here in London. Hello to you, Professor. Thank you for joining us. Are you saying that our politicians are too thick?
No, and actually, to be fair, we're not saying it might be too complicated. What we're trying to do is say there's a lot here that people haven't thought through, and it's as well to think it through before we start to make sure we do it as well as we can.
If you've already voted, you are far more likely to be a Hillary Clinton voter. I used to say a state like North Carolina, and at 20 points, you're more likely to be a Hillary Clinton voter if you've already voted there. Something like 40% of North Carolina voters will vote by election day, and these will be Hillary people. So I think there's tightness, particularly in states where they have early voting, in huge numbers like North Carolina and Florida, are not actual shifts in the election that people can screen out.
But if you've already voted in at least 7 states, I think you can always change your mind.
As you said, or your commentators quite right, yeah, Hannah said quite rightly, usually means that no one actually does that. And it's, for me, it's a sign that the Trump campaign hasn't actually matched on to early voting. It has been a linchpin of the Hillary Clinton campaign to organise their voters to go out early to the polls. And the Trump campaign is massively paying catch up on that kind of effort. The Trump campaign were advertising this week for canvassers in Florida. So a task they should probably have done 6 to 9 months ago.
You never thought he was going to win, though, did you? And so he found himself in a position. I was in Vegas for the third day, and he was saying, it's rigged, it's rigged, it's rigged. And now he's thinking, I'm not able to win this. It's not rigged at all.
I think that Donald Trump puts himself in a very lucky position, facing a candidate who, firstly, comes from the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party have won 3 consecutive presidential elections, and secondly, is one of the least popular nominees of a major political party on record. The problem for him is that he was under the understanding that he could run a relatively cheap campaign on free media through the celebrity appeal and not invest heavily enough early on in the next months of a presidential campaign, which is what will save the campaign.
How accurate are the polls in the US as opposed to polls here in the United Kingdom that have had a bit of a kick in the last year?
They vary. There are pollsters that are exceptionally good. Now there's public policy polling. Actually, the polls that YouGov produced for the 2014 elections were fairly accurate. The advantage also you have in the US is that a lot of polling done off the voter file, so people can, you can look at various demographic trends in a much clearer way. But as I was saying, these things like lucky voter schemes, particularly in this late stage of the election, make it very, very complicated.
Okay, so it's Hillary's to lose, from what you're saying, Mark, but she could.
She could. I mean, so you've got
to have less to do to win, doesn't she, as a Democrat?
If you're Donald Trump, well, let's say Hillary Clinton loses key states of Ohio, Florida, North Carolina, Iowa. She's still into the presidential election. Donald Trump has to win every true swing state, plus win somewhere else. That's why she's up in Michigan and Wisconsin. It's a Hail Mary last ditch attempt to bring another state into play. It's not going to work. It's exactly what Mr. Mitt Romney tried in Pennsylvania in 2012 when he realized that he didn't have enough other liberal states to make a late play in Pennsylvania, and it didn't work.
Now, before we let you go, which state will you be keeping your eye on and you think, if Hillary wins that, it's good?
North Carolina. It was a state won by Obama very narrowly in 2008, very narrowly in 2012 by Mitt Romney. The Clinton campaign had prioritized it for 2 reasons: African American voters and huge numbers of college-educated white voters, traditionally vote Republican in great numbers, that are trained up by Donald Trump in one respect home, but quietly vote for Hillary Clinton. That is the state where he will sit.
I'm writing all this down because I'll need that for next week. Mark, it's great to talk to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. Well, the head of the World Trade Organization has warned it would be a catastrophe He was speaking to our economics editor, Ed Conway, from the special report.
If every Latin United States disconnects from the global economy, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. It's a catastrophe for the economy. So that is not going to happen. Many of those policies that are being proposed, if implemented, actually, you're out of borrowing for years.
And a special report called Reversal of Fortune Hills Daniels, and that's at 9:30 this evening. And tonight, Jeremy Thompson will bring you a special programme, America Decides, that's at midnight tonight, and every night this week. And now let's look at the day's other main stories in the operation to relocate all the migrants living in the jungle camp in Calais is now complete. Officials in Calais say more than 1,600 unaccompanied children have been moved while their asylum applications are processed. The bodies of a man and 2 children have been found in a house in Hinkley in Leicestershire. Police were called to the house last night after reports of a disturbance. A woman in the house was injured and is in a serious condition in hospital. Prime Minister attacked FIFA's decision to ban English and Scottish football players wearing poppies during Prime Minister's questions today. She described FIFA's position as utterly outrageous. And the rest of the entries with our senior political correspondent John Craig in just a few minutes. Police in the US have arrested a man after 2 police officers were shot dead in separate incidents in the US state of Iowa. The Des Moines Police Department has described the attack as ambush style.
These were our friends, maybe our co-workers. We stepped in at the time, the family of law enforcement. Certainly, we just said we were very tight-knit community. Des Moines is not a big city. We all know each other. So, I think we're hard. I don't know what else.
And the UK police officer has been seriously injured after stopping a vehicle in Cleveland in Lancashire. The officer was attacked with a knife, but his injuries are not life-threatening. The man has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. The Mayor of London has ordered an inquiry after a Sky investigation revealed spiralling costs of running the Olympic Stadium. City Council office has blamed the previous mayor, Boris Johnson, for the problem.
Well, I'm deeply concerned about the serious financial issues surrounding the Olympic Stadium. We fully realised the true scale of the financial costs towards the end of last week, and we now discovered that the cost of converting the Olympic Stadium to a football stadium is approaching the region of £320 million. The original conversion cost was £100 million, went up to £290. Previous mayor signed off on £270 million, and we now think it's approaching the author of £300 million to convert the stadium. What I don't want to do is reach a knee-jerk conclusion. It's important